The large ships appeared in the sky without warning. They hung over major cities across Earth, blocking the sun and casting long shadows. People stopped and stared up at them. Some took pictures. Others ran home to their families. No one knew what to think. In Washington, D.C., Jack Miller straightened his tie and took a deep breath. As the chief diplomat for the Terran Alliance, he would be the first human to speak with aliens. Next to him, Samantha Green checked her tablet one last time. She was the head of Earth's science team, and she had been preparing for this moment her whole life. "Ready?" Jack asked. Samantha nodded. "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens." The landing area had been set up in the National Mall. Armed soldiers stood in a wide circle, though they had been told to keep their weapons lowered. Earth wanted to appear peaceful. A beam of light shot down from the largest ship. When it faded, 3 tall figures stood on the platform. They had pale blue skin, 4 arms, and large black eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. The one in the middle wore an elaborate silver outfit that seemed to shift colors in the sunlight. Jack stepped forward. "On behalf of humanity and the Terran Alliance, I welcome you to Earth." The alien in the middle made a clicking sound. A small device on its chest lit up, and words came out in clear English. "We are representatives of the Zorthan Empire. I am Commander Vexlor. We have come to assess your world." Samantha smiled. "We have so many questions for you. We've been searching the stars for other intelligent life for centuries." Vexlor looked at her with what seemed like boredom. "Yes? Most primitive species do." Jack felt a chill at those words but kept his smile. "We've prepared a meeting place where we can talk more comfortably. We're eager to establish friendly relations." "That will not be necessary," Vexlor said. The alien raised one of its 4 hands and touched a device on its wrist. "Your species is not registered with the Galactic Council. Your technological development is minimal. Your military capability is negligible. This system is now under Zorthan protection." "Protection?" Jack asked, his smile fading. "We haven't asked for protection." "Unregistered species do not need to ask," Vexlor said. "It is our right as a council race to claim unclaimed systems." Samantha stepped forward. "But this system isn't unclaimed. This is our home." The alien seemed to find this amusing. All 3 made the clicking sound that might have been laughter. "You misunderstand," Vexlor said. "You have no standing. You have no rights under galactic law. You are simply inhabitants." Jack felt his heart beating faster. This wasn't going as planned. "Perhaps we can discuss joining this galactic council you mention." "We are a peaceful species, but we value our independence." Vexlor touched the wrist device again. "The assessment is complete. Your species will serve the Empire well." Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded from all the ships in the sky. Red lights began to flash along their hulls. "What's happening?" Jack asked. "The integration process has begun," Vexlor said calmly. "Some will resist. It does not matter." Before Jack could respond, the soldiers around the landing area raised their weapons. "Sir, we're getting reports of attacks in major cities worldwide," one of them shouted. On the large screens around the mall that had been set up to broadcast the historic meeting, chaos was unfolding. Strange weapons fired from the alien ships, destroying buildings and bridges. People ran screaming through the streets of London, Beijing, and Cairo. "Stop this," Jack shouted at Vexlor. "We've shown no hostility." "Hostility is irrelevant," the alien replied. "Submission is expected." The soldiers opened fire, but some kind of shield protected the aliens. Vexlor touched his wrist device once more, and a wave of energy knocked everyone to the ground. Jack struggled to his feet, pulling Samantha up with him. "We need to get to the emergency bunker," he said. They ran as explosions rocked the city behind them. The White House security team met them halfway, surrounding them with armored vehicles. "What about the people?" Samantha asked, looking back at the chaos. "Emergency protocols are in effect," one of the security team said. "But these weapons, we've never seen anything like them." Miles above Earth, on a massive space station that housed the Galactic Council, a meeting was taking place. Representatives from 17 advanced species sat around a circular table, watching the events on Earth unfold on large screens. The Zorthan Empire reports that the system known as Sol has been successfully integrated, announced the council chair, a tall, thin being with gray skin named Drax. The native species showed expected resistance, but it was quickly suppressed. Most of the council representatives nodded in approval. It was a common occurrence. New species were discovered and integrated into the empire of whichever council race found them first. It was how the galaxy had operated for thousands of years. Only one representative seemed troubled. Xylos, from the peaceful Luminari species, leaned forward. Were first contact protocols followed? Was the species given the option to apply for protected status? Commander Vexilor, now appearing via hologram, made the clicking sound again. The species is primitive. They have barely reached their own moon. They have no standing to request protected status. Still, Xylos insisted, all sentient beings deserve basic consideration. Your empathy is noted, Drax said dismissively. But the law is clear. The Zorthan Empire has claimed the system legally. The matter is closed. On Earth, the first day of resistance was failing badly. Human weapons barely damaged the Zorthan ships. Major cities were in ruins. Millions were dead or missing. In a secure bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Jack Miller and what remained of Earth's leadership watched the reports coming in from around the world. They're rounding up survivors, said General Paul Harris, pointing to satellite images. Setting up some kind of processing centers. What do we do now? Someone asked. Jack looked at Samantha, who had been analyzing the alien technology from the limited data they had. She looked up from her screens, determination in her eyes. We find a way to fight back, she said. These Zorthans, they think, we're just going to give up and submit. They think we're primitive and weak. We are outmatched, General Harris said grimly. Maybe, Jack replied, a new resolve hardening within him. But they've made a critical mistake. What's that? Asked the general. They attacked our home, Jack said, and humans will never stop fighting for their home. Across Earth, in hidden places and secret bunkers, the same realization was dawning. The fight for humanity's survival had just begun, and the Galactic Council would soon learn just how dangerous it was to corner a species that refused to surrender. 6 months passed since the Zorthan ships first appeared in Earth's skies. Cities around the world lay in ruins. The aliens had set up large bases where they processed Earth's resources and people. They believed they had won. They were wrong. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in an old submarine base that had been expanded over the years, Commander Alan Russell looked at the maps spread across the table. Red dots marked Zorthan strongholds. Blue dots showed human resistance cells. There were not enough blue dots. Sir, the team from Vancouver is back, said Lieutenant Kate Howard as she entered the room. Her face was dirty and there was a fresh cut above her eye, but she stood tall. Alan nodded. Casualties? 2 wounded, none dead. We got lucky. Kate placed a small device on the table. And we got this. Alan picked up the alien technology. It was smaller than his palm but felt heavy. What is it? A Zorthan communication device, according to our science team. Dr. Peterson is already working on it. For the first time in weeks, Alan smiled. Greg Peterson was the best scientist they had. If anyone could make sense of alien tech, it was him. Any word from the other bases? Alan asked. Kate shook her head. Not since last week. The Zorthans are jamming most signals. But we know the Rocky Mountain base is still active, and there are reports of fighting in what's left of Chicago. Alan turned to the old computer screens that lined one wall of the command center. They showed surveillance footage captured by hidden cameras around the world. Zorthan patrols marched through empty streets. Processing centers glowed with strange blue light. And humans, those who had surrendered, walked in lines with blank faces. They think they've broken us, Alan said quietly. They haven't met all of us yet, Kate replied. In a laboratory hidden in the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Greg Peterson hadn't slept in 3 days. Around him, captured pieces of Zorthan technology were spread across several tables. He had been taking them apart and putting them back together, learning how they worked. His breakthrough came when he connected a Zorthan device to Earth's old satellite network. The aliens had destroyed most satellites, but some remained, forgotten and unused. Through them, Greg discovered something important. The Zorthans used Earth's magnetic field for their communications. And if they could use it, maybe humans could. Disrupt it, Lisa, Greg called to his assistant. I need you to see this. Engineer Lisa Baker looked up from her work. She had been trying to understand the power source of a small Zorthan weapon. What is it? Greg pointed to his computer screen, where waves of data flowed. Their whole system relies on magnetic frequencies. If we could generate a strong enough pulse at the right frequency, Lisa's eyes widened as she understood, we could blind them, maybe even shut down their weapons. Exactly, Greg said. But we'd need something powerful, more powerful than anything we have here. Lisa thought for a moment, then smiled. What about the old HARP facility in Alaska? If it survived, it was designed to study the ionosphere. We could modify it. Greg nodded excitedly. We need to get this information to all resistance cells. How's the secure network coming? Almost ready, Lisa said. Another week, maybe less. On the Galactic Council station, Representative Xylos sat alone in his quarters. The luminary did not need much sleep, which gave him time to review reports that others might miss. Something about the Earth situation bothered him. According to Zorthan reports, the human species had been pacified. Most survivors had been processed for labor or resource collection. Resistance was minimal, yet the resource shipments from Earth were falling behind schedule. Zorthan requests for additional troops had increased by 15%. Xylos accessed his private terminal, bypassing the official council records. He had friends in various places who sent him information that never made it to council meetings. A message appeared on his screen. Human resistance stronger than reported. Zorthan casualties rising in North American sector. Request for planetary bombardment denied by council chair is too costly. So Xylos thought the humans fight on, and Drax is protecting his investment in Earth's resources. Another message appeared, this one more puzzling. Unexplained communications failures in multiple Zorthan bases. Pattern suggests interference rather than equipment failure. Before Xylos could investigate further, his communication panel lit up with an incoming message. This was strange. No one should be contacting him on this secure channel. The message contained no words, only a string of numbers. A code of some kind. Xylos ran it through his translation program, expecting nothing. To his surprise, words appeared. We are not defeated. The message origin was Earth. Back on Earth, the first coordinated attack of the resistance began at dawn. In 12 locations around the world, small teams of humans struck Zorthan outposts simultaneously. Near what was once Seattle, Kate Howard led a team of 20 fighters. They had spent weeks studying Zorthan patrol patterns. They knew the aliens relied too much on their technology and had become careless. Remember, Kate whispered to her team as they hid in the ruins of an old shopping mall. Hit fast, grab what we can, and disappear. No heroes today. The Zorthan patrol came right on schedule. 6 aliens, each carrying weapons that could vaporize a human in seconds. But they weren't watching the shadows carefully enough. Greg's device activated with the press of a button. A small pulse disrupted the Zorthan's communication systems. Their weapons flickered as the power wavered. Kate gave the signal. Her team attacked from all sides. The fight was quick and brutal. 4 Zorthans fell before they could react. They too. Other 2 raised their weapons, but the disruption made them misfire. Within minutes, the patrol was down. Kate's team gathered the alien weapons and equipment. Most importantly, they secured a small Zorthan scout ship that had been parked nearby. 5 minutes until their missed check-in triggers an alarm, said one of Kate's team. We're already gone. Kate replied, looking at the scout ship with determination. And we just got ourselves a new ride. Similar scenes played out around the world. Not all teams were successful, but enough were. For the first time since the invasion, the Zorthans lost ground. In the underwater base, Alan received the reports, with growing hope. The scout ship Kate's team captured would be invaluable. Lisa Baker was already on her way to examine it. "Sir," said a communications officer, "Dr. Peterson's message got through. The Galactic Council station received it." Alan nodded. It was a small thing, that message. Just 3 words. But it was important that the Council know humans still fought. That Earth was not conquered. As night fell across what remained of human civilization, something had changed. In hidden bases and secret camps, people shared a feeling they had almost forgotten. Hope. The Zorthans would soon realize they hadn't invaded a planet of the weak. They had awakened a planet of warriors who would never stop fighting for their home. 1 year had passed since the Zorthan invasion. The aliens no longer patrolled Earth's cities with the same confidence. Their soldiers looked over their shoulders more often. They traveled in larger groups. They were afraid. In a hidden bunker, beneath the ruins of Houston, Colonel Frank Davis studied the holographic display of a Zorthan command ship. The image rotated slowly, showing every detail of the massive vessel. This ship was the key to his plan, a plan codenamed Operation Prometheus. "Are you sure this will work?" asked the soldier beside him. Frank nodded. "The security codes Dr. Peterson pulled from their network are valid for another 12 hours. After that, they'll change them. We move tonight." The scout ship Kate Howard's team had captured 6 months ago had been the beginning. Since then, the Resistance had taken more ships, more weapons. Engineer Lisa Baker had worked miracles, figuring out how to fly the alien craft. Now they had 5 ships hidden in various locations around the globe. "Gather the strike team," Frank ordered. "Final briefing in 30 minutes. As the soldier left, Frank touched the small metal badge on his chest. It had belonged to his wife, who died in the first days of the invasion. "This one's for you, Maria," he whispered. On Mars, in the hidden tunnels beneath Olympus Mons, Dr. Nicole Martinez checked the final calculations on her tablet. The early Mars colony had been mostly destroyed in the invasion, but the deepest parts remained untouched. The Zorthans had not bothered to search thoroughly after killing the colonists they found on the surface. That was their mistake. Before the invasion, Mars had been home to a secret project, massive electromagnetic cannons designed to destroy asteroids that might threaten Earth. Now Dr. Martinez had repurposed them for a different target. "Power levels at 90%, reported her assistant. "Targeting systems aligned." Nicole took a deep breath. "Begin charging sequence. We fire when Colonel Davis gives the signal." Back on Earth, Frank's team boarded the captured scout ships. 20 of Earth's best soldiers, each carrying weapons modified by Greg Peterson to be more effective against Zorthan armor. Their mission was simple but dangerous: infiltrate the command ship, download their military database, and get out alive. Frank checked his team one last time. "Remember, we're not there to fight unless necessary. Get to the main computer, plant the device, and leave. Lisa's modifications should make our ships look like friendly vessels until we're inside their shields." The 5 scout ships lifted off under cover of darkness. They flew high above the clouds where Zorthan sensors were focused outward, not expecting an attack from the supposedly defeated humans. The command ship hung in low orbit, a massive structure that gleamed in the sunlight. It was 20 times larger than any human spacecraft built before the invasion. It controlled all Zorthan forces in the North American sector. "Approaching target." Lisa's voice came through the communication system. She was piloting the lead ship. "Sending fake identification codes now." There was a tense moment of silence, then, "We're clear. They're opening the landing bay doors." Frank felt his heart pounding as their ships entered the massive Zorthan vessel. They landed among dozens of similar craft. No alarms sounded. No troops rushed to meet them. "Phase 1 complete," Frank said quietly. "Move out." The teams exited, their ships moving quickly through the alien corridors. Greg's disruption devices kept the security systems blind to their presence. They reached the main computer room with only 2 brief encounters with Zorthan crew, both resolved silently. Frank plugged the special device into the Zorthan computer. It immediately began downloading the entire military database, including their defense systems, fleet positions, and weapon specifications. On a secondary channel, it uploaded a virus Greg had designed to scramble their communications. 2 minutes until download complete, Frank told his team. Stay alert. That's when the alarms finally sounded. A voice boomed through the ship in the clicking Zorthan language, followed by English. Human intruders detected. Security teams deploy. We've been made, Frank said. Plan B. Lisa, get ready for emergency extraction. The team formed a defensive circle around the computer access point. The download was at 80% when the first Zorthan security troops rounded the corner. The fight was brief but intense. Human weapons, enhanced with knowledge gained from studying Zorthan technology, proved surprisingly effective. 3. Humans fell, but the Zorthans suffered worse losses. Download complete, Frank announced. Fall back to the ships. As they retreated, Frank sent the signal to Mars. Prometheus is lit. I repeat, Prometheus is lit. On Mars, Nicole Martinez received the signal. Fire the mass drivers, she ordered. Beneath the Martian surface, massive electromagnetic cannons that had never been used for their original purpose powered up. Their targets, the Zorthan orbital platforms that formed the backbone of their defense, at work. The first shot crossed the distance between Mars and Earth in minutes. It struck a Zorthan platform with devastating force, tearing through shields designed to stop energy weapons but not solid projectiles moving at near relativistic speeds. More shots followed. Within 20 minutes, 6 platforms were destroyed. Without them, the Zorthans lost control of their automated defense systems covering half the planet. Frank's team made it back to their ships just as the Zorthan command ship began to realize what was happening. They launched, fighting their way out of the landing bay and into open space. 3 ships clear, Lisa reported. 2 still inside. Frank watched the command ship growing smaller behind them. We can't wait. Set course for the rendezvous point. As they flew away, the Zorthan command ship suddenly shuddered. Its lights flickered. Greg's virus had reached the main systems. On the Galactic Council station, an emergency session was called. Alarm spread through the chamber as reports arrived. From Earth, this is impossible, Council Chair Drax declared, looking at the data. The humans have destroyed 6 orbital platforms and disabled a command ship. How can this primitive species have such capability? Representative Xylos watched in silence, hiding his satisfaction. He had suspected the humans were more resilient than the Zorthans claimed. Now he had proof. The Zorthan Empire requests additional forces to subdue the human resistance, Drax continued, his voice tight with anger. Before any vote could be taken, a new message appeared on all council screens. It was a simple text transmission, broadcast on all galactic frequencies. This is Admiral Karen White of the Terran Alliance vessel Retribution. The counterattack has begun. Earth is not yours to take. Out beyond Jupiter's moon Europa, where the Zorthans had never bothered to patrol, a new ship emerged from a hidden base. The Retribution was smaller than Zorthan warships but sleeker, combining human ingenuity with captured alien technology. Admiral Karen White stood on its bridge, looking at the stars. Set course for the Zorthan homeworld, she ordered. It's time they learned humans fight back. The ship's engines glowed blue, then white. In a flash of light, it made the jump to faster-than-light travel, something humans had never achieved before the invasion. The war for Earth had entered a new phase. Humanity was no longer just resisting, they were taking the fight to the stars. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 17 advanced species shouted over each other. Some demanded immediate action. Others called for calm. The emergency meeting had been going on for 6 hours with no resolution. Council. Chair Drax banged his ceremonial staff against the floor. Order! I will have order! The room gradually quieted. All eyes turned to the large screen at the front of the chamber, which showed the human ship, Retribution, jumping to faster-than-light travel. The recording had been played dozens of times already. This is unprecedented, said a reptilian representative from the Sauron Collective. The humans were at pre-FTL stage just 1 year ago. Now they have hybrid technology that matches our capabilities. Drax turned to Commander Vexlor, who stood stiffly at the side of the chamber. Explain how this happened under Zorthan's supervision. Vexlor made an angry clicking sound. The humans are more adaptable than we anticipated. They have stolen and copied our technology. But make no mistake, this is merely a desperate action by a doomed species. Representative Xylos rose from his seat. The Luminari were rarely aggressive in council meetings, so everyone paid attention. Perhaps, Xylos said softly, we should reconsider our approach. The humans have clearly demonstrated they are not a primitive species to be conquered. They have rights under galactic law. Rights? Vexlor clicked in what might have been laughter. They were not registered with the council. The Zorthan Empire claimed their system legally. After an unprovoked attack, Xylos countered. The first contact protocols were ignored. Before the argument could continue, a new message appeared on all screens in the chamber. It was Admiral Karen White of the Retribution, broadcasting directly to the council. Respected members of the Galactic Council, she began, her face calm, but determined. I speak on behalf of humanity. We demand recognition as a sovereign species with full legal rights. We demand the immediate withdrawal of all Zorthan forces from Earth and all human colonies. We demand reparations for the unprovoked attack on our world. Council Chair Drax leaned forward. You are in no position to make demands, human. Your species is outmatched and... Karen cut him off. We have disabled a Zorthan command ship. We have destroyed 6 orbital platforms. Our vessel has successfully made 2 faster-than-light jumps using modified Zorthan technology. We are currently in orbit around Proxima Centauri. Our next jump will take us to the Zorthan homeworld. A stunned silence fell over the council chamber. This is a bluff, Vexlor said finally. They cannot possibly have the coordinates for our homeworld. Karen smiled. Check your military database, Commander. You'll find we downloaded quite a lot of information during our visit to your command ship. On Earth, the Resistance had entered a new phase. Commander Alan Russell's forces had begun liberating large areas of North America. With the orbital platforms destroyed and the command ship's systems compromised, Zorthan ground forces were in disarray. Alan stood on a hill overlooking what had once been Chicago. In the distance, his troops moved through the ruins, engaging the remaining Zorthan patrols. Dr. Greg Peterson's disruption technology had been mass-produced and distributed to all resistance fighters. It shut down Zorthan weapons at close range, leveling the playing field. Sir? Lieutenant Kate Howard approached, her uniform dirty from battle but her eyes bright with victory. We've taken the processing center, over 5,000 humans freed. Alan nodded. Casualties? Minimal on our side. The Zorthans fought to the last. Alan looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, the captured Zorthan data was being put to good use. Any word from the Retribution? Kate handed him a tablet. They've made contact with the Galactic Council. Admiral White is making our case. On the Retribution, Karen White ended her transmission to the Council. She turned to her crew, all hand-picked from the Resistance. Engineers who had learned to operate alien technology. Scientists who had studied Zorthan biology and tactics. Soldiers who had fought against impossible odds and survived. Do you think they'll listen? Asked her first officer, Ben Hall. Karen shrugged. Some will, others won't. But they'll all take us seriously now. The ship's sensors suddenly lit up, with warnings. A fleet of Zorthan vessels had just appeared at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. Looks like the Emperor sent his elite forces, Ben said, studying the readings. 15 warships. We're outgunned. Karen smiled. Are we? Navigation, set course for Earth, maximum speed. Let's see if they can keep up. The Retribution jumped away just as the Zorthan fleet opened fire. When it emerged from FTL travel near Earth, the ship immediately broadcast on all frequencies. This is Admiral White to all resistance forces. The Zorthan elite fleet is following us. Prepare Operation Shield Wall. We have approximately 30 minutes. On Earth, engineer Lisa Baker stood in what had once been the HARP facility in Alaska. For months, She had been modifying it based on what they had learned about Zorthan technology. Now it was ready. Begin power-up sequence, she ordered her team. Similar commands were given at facilities around the world that had been secretly rebuilt and modified. As the Zorthan fleet emerged near Earth, ready to crush the human resistance once and for all, they found something unexpected. Earth's magnetic field began to pulse with energy. The pulses grew stronger, forming a shimmering barrier around the planet. The Zorthan ships fired their most powerful weapons. The energy beams hit the magnetic shield and dissipated harmlessly. Their missiles exploded before reaching the atmosphere. On the Galactic Council station, representatives watched in amazement as the primitive planet Earth defended itself against one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. Xylos turned to Council Chair Drax. It seems the humans have more surprises for us. Before Drax could respond, another transmission came through. This time it wasn't Admiral White but Jack Miller, the diplomat who had first greeted the Zorthans a year ago. Honored council members, Jack began, his voice steady. You see before you proof that humanity will not be conquered. We did not ask for this war. We welcomed the Zorthans in peace. They responded with violence. Now we have learned to defend ourselves. Jack paused, letting his words sink in. But we are still the same species that reached out in friendship. We do not seek to destroy the Zorthans or any other race. We ask only for what all sentient beings deserve: recognition, respect, and the right to determine our own destiny. As Jack spoke, more council members began nodding. Even those allied with the Zorthans could not deny the evidence before them. A supposedly primitive species had not only survived a full-scale invasion, but had turned the invaders' own technology against them. The war for Earth was far from over. But for the first time, humans were not fighting alone. Several council species had begun to question their alliance with the Zorthans. Some had secretly reached out to offer aid. Jack Miller's words echoed through the council chamber. The question before you is simple. Will you recognize humanity as equals? Or will you continue to support an unjust war against a species that has proven its right to exist among the stars? 2 years after the Zorthan ships first appeared in Earth's skies, the Galactic Council gathered for a historic vote. The massive council chamber was filled to capacity. Representatives from all 17 advanced species sat at their designated places. Additional observers lined the walls, including a small delegation of humans. Jack Miller stood with Samantha Green and Colonel Frank Davis, watching as Council Chair Drax called the session to order. They wore simple but formal Earth clothes, a deliberate choice to show they remained proudly human despite all they had learned from alien technology. We are here to vote on Resolution 7221, Drax announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. The recognition of the species known as humans as a sovereign race with full council rights. The past 6 months had seen intense negotiations. After the human shield had repelled the Zorthan elite fleet, more council species had sided with Xylos in calling for peace. The Zorthan Empire had fought against it, but even they could not deny that humans had earned respect through their resilience and ingenuity. Before we vote, Drax continued, the Zorthan representative may make a final statement. Commander Vexilor stepped forward. His silver outfit was less elaborate than when he had first landed on Earth. The war had not gone well for his people. The mighty Zorthan Empire maintains that our claim to the Sol system was legal under council law at the time of first contact, Vexilor said, his translator converting his clicks into flat, emotionless words. However, we recognize that circumstances have changed. The humans have shown unexpected qualities. This was as close to an apology as the proud Zorthans would ever come. Jack exchanged a glance with Samantha. They had both lost friends and family in the invasion. Forgiveness would take time, but this was a start. Representative Xylos spoke next. The Luminary delegation fully supports recognizing humanity. Their actions have shown not only technological aptitude, but wisdom. When they gained the ability to strike at the Zorthan homeworld, they chose negotiation instead of revenge. This speaks to their character as a species. One by one, other representatives voiced their positions. Some supported human recognition enthusiastically, Others had concerns but acknowledged the reality of the situation. A few remained opposed but were now in the minority. "We will now vote," Drax announced. The voting was done silently, each representative inputting their choice into the system. Jack held his breath as the results appeared on the large screen. "By a vote of 12 in favor, 3 opposed, and 2 abstentions," Drax read, "Resolution 7221 is approved. Humanity is hereby recognized as a sovereign species with full council rights. All Zorthan forces are to withdraw from Earth and its colonies within 30 days. A murmur ran through the chamber. Jack felt a weight lift from his shoulders. 2 years of fighting, hiding, and desperate innovation had led to this moment. Humanity had not only survived but had earned its place among the stars. On Earth, people gathered around screens to watch the council proceedings. In every resistance base in the hidden colonies on Mars and Europa, humans celebrated. They had won their freedom through courage and determination. Admiral Karen White stood on the bridge of the Retribution as it orbited Earth. The ship had become a symbol of human resilience. Built in secret, combining Earth technology with what they had learned from the Zorthans, it represented a new beginning. "Admiral," her communications officer called, "we're receiving messages from 3 council species. They're offering technological exchanges and alliance talks." Karen smiled. "Reply with thanks. Tell them Earth is open to peaceful cooperation with all species who recognize our sovereignty." The Retribution's sensors showed Zorthan ships already, beginning to withdraw from Earth orbit. Some would try to delay to salvage what they could, but the Council's vote was binding, and even the proud Zorthans would not risk going against the united will of the other species. In the underwater base that had served as Resistance headquarters, Commander Alan Russell and Lieutenant Kate Howard watched the Council vote on an old television. Around them, Resistance fighters cheered. "I never thought I'd see this day," Kate said quietly. Alan nodded. "We lost so much, so many good people." "But we won," Kate replied, taking his hand. "We won because we never stopped fighting." Across the room, Dr. Greg Peterson and engineer Lisa Baker were already discussing their next project. With the war ending, they could focus on advancing human technology in peaceful ways. The defensive shield they had created would be studied and improved. The hybrid engines that powered the Retribution would lead to more ships, allowing humans to explore beyond their solar system. 3 months after the Council vote, Earth held its first global election since the invasion. Jack Miller, the diplomat who had first greeted the Zorthans and later argued humanity's case before the Council, was elected president of the new Terran Alliance. His first act was to establish the Terran Accords, a set of principles for humanity's interactions with other species. The first principle was clear. Earth would never be the aggressor in galactic affairs but would always defend itself and other peaceful species if needed. On the day the last Zorthan ship left Earth's orbit, President Miller stood with other world leaders at a ceremony in the rebuilt United Nations Plaza in New York. They watched as the ship vanished into the distance. Representative Xylos, now the official Galactic Council ambassador to Earth, stood beside them. "Your species has accomplished something remarkable," Xylos said. Many council members still cannot quite believe it. "What's that?" Jack asked. "In one standard galactic year you went from a pre-FTL civilization to a respected council race. No other species has adapted so quickly or shown such, what is your word? Determination." Jack looked up at the sky, now free of alien warships. "We had something worth fighting for." Later that evening, Jack stood alone on the balcony of his office, looking at the stars. They no longer seemed distant and unreachable. They were the future, full of both danger and promise. A message came through on his personal communicator. It was from Admiral White on the Retribution. "First diplomatic mission ready to depart," the message read. "Destination, Luminary Homeworld. Request permission to represent Earth in official capacity." Jack smiled as he sent his reply. "Permission granted, Admiral. Show them who we really are." As the Retribution prepared for its jump to the stars, humanity looked forward to a new chapter in its history. They had been tested in the harshest way possible and had emerged stronger. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again.